Hello, and welcome to Voices of the Great War. So today we're going to be concluding our story of the Schrader family, and we're going to do so in a couple of letters as well as a newspaper article. So the very first letter that we're going to read is from Elmer Schrader. We've mentioned him in a few of our past letters, but this is the first letter that we actually have from Elmer. And this is the letter. Again, this is Elmer's letter. And this is the envelope that letter arrived in. This letter was written to his brother Bill on the home front. I've gone ahead and written the letter in the journal just to make it a little bit easier to read. So this letter was dated September 20th, 1918. Dear brother, your letter was received and glad to hear you are doing good. The picture that you sent is very good and you have everything fixed up fine. There is not much to write about. I was glad to hear that you are all well as I am the same. Love to all, Sergeant Elmer Schrader, Company D, 8th Machine Gun Battalion, AEF. So that letter was written from Elmer to his brother Bill on the home front. Now, the next letter that we're going to read is dated October 22nd, 1918. And Bill sent this to Elmer. And so this is the letter that Bill sent to his brother. Unfortunately, Elmer was killed in action on October 5th in 1918 in the Argonne, and he never got to receive that letter. And we can also see that this is the envelope, and you can see the stamps stating that it was sent to deceased person. But we're going to go ahead and read that letter that Elmer never got to read. Again, this is dated October 22nd. Dear Elmer, received your letter dated September 20th and was very glad to hear from you. We have all been sick with the influenza. Mother, Mus, Earl, Ruth, and I all had it, but we are getting along okay now. We heard that you and Carl Binder met in France. I suppose it's great to meet a friend from your old hometown. I am sending you the Trenton Times dated October 23rd. We received a letter from Russ, and he is getting along okay. The way the paper reads now, it won't be long before the boys will come marching home. Love from all, Bill. So again, Elmer, he never did get a chance to read that letter because he was killed in action October 5th, 1918 in the Argonne. The next letter I'm going to read is to Elmer's mother, Mrs. Catherine Musser, and this letter was from Elmer's commanding officer. And this letter is dated May 17th, 1920. And it reads, Dear Madam, this is to inform you that on account of gallantry displayed by your son, Sergeant Elmer Schrader, deceased Company D, 8th Machine Gun Battalion, he will be cited in orders from General Headquarters, American Expeditionary Forces, for gallantry in action and awarded a certificate by the Commanding General of those forces with the following citation. For gallantry in action near Cunel, France, October 5th, 1918, in going to an advanced machine gun position under heavy enemy fire. The praiseworthy services of Sergeant Schrader and his gallantry in action will forever live as an inspiration for the present and future members of this organization, and on historical day for this organization, which is October 4th of each year, his name will be read aloud, as will his deeds in battle to all those assembled on this occasion. In commemoration of the brave deeds of our past members, and that it may be known by the world that our fallen brothers have not been forgotten in death, permit me to express my sorrow to you on the loss of your son, and to congratulate you on being the mother of such a faithful soldier as was Sergeant Schrader, while it will always remain with me a source of honor to have had him under my command. Sincerely yours, W. G. Weaver, Captain 8th Machine Gun Battalion, Commanding. And this is the letter that his commanding officer wrote to his mother. And the next thing that I would like to read is a newspaper clipping regarding Elmer. And this is a photo of Elmer that was printed in the paper. So this article reads, Trenton hero's body arrives from Europe. Mrs. Catherine Musser, received word of the arrival in Hoboken of the body of her son, Sergeant Elmer Schrader, former member of Company D, 8th Machine Gun Battalion, who was killed in action during the Meuse-Argonne campaign. No arrangements have yet been made for his funeral. Members of the American Legion will arrange military ceremonies upon the arrival of the body in this city. Sergeant Schrader enlisted in service April 5, 1917, and went overseas in March of 1918. He was killed in action October 5, 1918, while aiding wounded comrades under heavy fire. Before entering the service, Sergeant Schrader was popular in young people's clubs and organizations, especially in the East Trenton section. So we know from that article that Elmer Schrader entered the Army directly after America entered the war. So he entered right away. He enlisted right away. So we can tell from that how brave Elmer was. Now, I would also like to read something else that was printed in a Trenton newspaper, and this is a list of the names of the fallen soldiers during World War I. And this is that list. But I would like to read it to you. Elkins Oliphant, Lawrence Willis Hutchinson, Edward R. Palmer, Elmer Schrader, Clarence Laird, Harold M. Drake, Malcolm Crichton, Donald Cadwalder, Walter Leroy Nutt, Francis R. Delaney, Sylvester J. Smith, Howard M. Poland, Harry Redding, Richard R. Kelly, William R. W. Hart, John Franklin Reed, Russell Wilcox, Spencer Bloor, Russell J. Terradell, John F. Diamond, Blaise Louis Olivetti, Frederick Charles Sandhoff, Joseph S. Brushannon, James J. Hewitt, Howard Stokes Boyer, Edward William Malone, William H. Owens, Archie F. McNeil, Joseph Leo Brennan, William E. Wolverton, William Ferry, John R. Aconi, Richard Bloor, Chester F. Brandt, Signer B. Blanks, Hezekiah Bannister, Frank Brower, Frank Martin Bax, Harvey Bloom, John Burks, Frederick Bauman, Russell L. Cheedy, William Cleveland, Giovanni Cavallo, Austin P. Carter, William Cowell, William R. Cubberley, Joseph Connors, William C. Chapman, Jr., Frank Conway, Walter E. Callan, John Seselwitz, Dominic F. Colucci, Charles Crozier Conrad, Edward F. Cudney, William Aloysius Cahill, Raphael Calviccioni, William A. Connell, Daniel M. Camini, George Christopher Callahan, James J. Carlucci, Luigi Caparuso, Ralph Cohen, Orest Sicilioni, James Harry Cartwright, Russell Dilts, James Daisy, James Disbrow, Mitchell A. Davis, Myron E. Demowski, Benjamin Dempsey, John H. Flannery, Anthony D. Frischella, Louis Foreman, John W. Fay, Dallas C. Gaines, Charles Peter Gary, Samuel Gillum, Charles J. Gebert Jr., Grover A. Gardner, William J. Hickey, Louis B. Hayden, Stanley West Higgins, Edward R. Powell, Israel Russell Hart, Archibald Higgins, Herbert A. Janislik, Martin Gironi, Frank Kowalski, John Kebis, William Kavanke, Joseph Leonardi, James Brooks Longmore, Harry Francis Longmore, Philip London, Thomas Laffrey, Joseph Robert Logue, James F. Mernon, Charles McLaughlin, John T. Mernon, William E. McDermott, Raymond A. Masterson, Bruno J. Madreska, Andrew J. Minnow, Alfred G. Macy, William Edward M. McHugh, Peter M. Murray, Charles Malone, Perillo Nezzi, James A. Newell, Frank Noski, Joseph Nalbone, A. Leroy Provost, William Frauser, Angelo Pecoroni, Howard Penn, John Moore Paxton Jr., William Petrowitz, Samuel Price, Edward Robinson, John F. Reed, Louis Renucci, Ignacy Renowitz, Charles M. Reisner, William Thomas Roche, Frank Siders, Herman C. Seltz Jr., George Smith, William Speck, Chester M. Southwick, Charles J. Smith, Joseph F. Sweeney, Martin Szymanski, Charles Sear, Arthur Lampin Small, George L. Scanlon, Walter H. Smith, August F. Tafts, Clarence W. Terry, Giovanni Valenza, Robert Bruce Volk, George Washington, Dominic Warren, Theophilus L. Wishart, Catherine V. Connolly, May Sullivan, Bessie Updike, Matilda F. Wells. So that is the list of all of the people in Trenton, men and women both, who were killed during World War I in action, fighting for our country. So thank you for joining me today on our Voices from the Great War, and thank you for listening to our stories of the Schrader family, a very brave family. And again, thank you so much for joining me today. And till next time.